And yeah, for me, there's a couple of things that I do that really help me. One thing is, I was thinking just wanting to set like this. I think this year in particular, it's like I want to set some new goals. I want to accomplish some new things in my career that I've never done before. I want to start working like at this level with these people. How do I get there? And so I started thinking about how to make that happen. And I started thinking about like outside of the music side. I mean, outside of music, I am like pretty self-disciplined. Like anytime I set a goal outside of work, I always hit it. I've ran a bunch of marathons and climbed these crazy mountains and ran like across the state of Tennessee. And like, I always accomplish whatever I sign up for. That's like just who I am, But I was
Good for you, man. That's amazing.
Well, but I was like, but then when it comes to like my professional career, I don't have, there's nothing that you really sign up for to work towards, and I was like, what would be the equivalent of that? And I don't know, I just started thinking about it. I was like, what about an accountability coach? I wonder what that would do for me. Like, just because when you sign up for a marathon, it's like by signing up, that's like the accountability for me. It's like, okay, well, I've paid this money. I've told everyone I'm going to do it. Now I have to like train for 4 months and make it happen. And so I was like, let me just try like a couple of sessions with this accountability coach that I found online. And I was like, I can bring him like all these career goals, and he can like hold me accountable and make sure that I do these things that I do not want to do, reaching out to these people I don't know and all this. And so I started talking with him and said, hey, here's what I want to do. And he's like, well, actually, I recommend what's called like creating this, I think it's like the wheel of life. And it's like you have all these different areas of your life, and every area is important, not just, you don't want to just focus on setting career-based goals, but you also want to, make sure your mental health is good and your family life is good and that your physical health is good and all these other things. And then if, every spoke of the wheel is like strong or whatever, then the wheel is like kind of complete. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. I'm good with doing that. I was wanting to just, accomplish these career goals. And so, yeah, we just kind of started talking about like, all right, he got me thinking like, okay, well, what are my physical goals and what are my, relationship goals, and so I started just kind of making a list and, kind of almost a to-do list. It's like, and even sleeps, that's a big, like I want to be firing on all cylinders in outside of work and at work. And so it was like, okay, meditation, every day, reading this much every week, spending this much time with my kids on the weekends, working these hours, just really regimented kind of system. And so I built this kind of template. It's a to-do list, and I print it out every Sunday night. And it just kind of has check boxes, and I can write like what I want to accomplish that week. And I work really well with to-do list for some reason. That's just who I am, I guess. But so what's nice is I meet with Mohammed, my accountability coach, every weekend, and I can pull up this checklist and be like, okay, did I go to bed at this time every night? Did I get up at this time every morning? Yes. And it just keeps me
amazing.
Keeps me consistent. And it's I know that sounds like a bunch of like personal life stuff, but it comes in.
It's all related
for sure. Yeah. Because, if you're not getting enough sleep, or if you're eating, junk, or you're not exercising, you're just not going to perform like at 100%. And I want to be performing at 100% every single day that I'm in my studio. And so it's been like a great investment. Just having meeting with him every week, and all the career goals as far as the like prospecting and reaching out to people that I want to be working with and building new relationships, and kind of this mixer that I host once a month, just, getting that to grow, and all these different things. Like he's checking in, he's making sure, he's like, okay, you said you were going to do this, and this week. Did you do it? And it's like, yeah, I did, because I don't want to let you down, And so it's been a great hack for me to implement that. I can't think of, I'm just in this place where it's like, I don't need more gear. Like I said, just give me like a DAW and some good speakers and a couple plugins, and that's all I need, And so now I'm focused
intentionality, minimalism.
Yeah. And focus and more on
performing.
Investing on, and now it's like investing in things like, having someone that's helping you on the accountability side of things, or someone like Samantha who helps me with like doing the social media stuff that I don't like to do, or prepping mixes, just outsourcing things that I can outsource, and things that just will help me, continue to grow. And that's kind of the headspace that I'm in this year. Not only transitioning into like more and more mix related work, but also just trying to get better and better every single year.
Got to improve. I'm assuming you've read Atomic Habits. It seems to be of the culture right now.
I have not actually. I've heard of it, but
really?
I haven't read it.
So
no, it sounds like it might be up my alley.
It's similar to what you're kind of talking about, but he has these kind of like checklists of like templates or things like that of like habits you want to kind of try to form or whatever. I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like the idea is like, how do you get if you get 1% better every day, then you improve like phenomenally over a year or a decade or however long.
Yeah.
So I read that book. I don't know if I've implemented many good habits since I read it, but got to get on it.
Yeah, that's definitely where I'm at right now. Just getting a little bit better every day for sure. And just having balance. I don't want to be working like crazy hours all the time. I'm like doing a Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. Pick up the kids, hang out with, have dinner with my family. That's where I'm at in life. My 20s when I was single, hustling. It's like that's all there was to do. And I definitely put in way more hours, during those years, but. For me now, it's like I still love making records just as much as I did back then, but I have other things that I love just as much now too that I didn't have back then. And so it's just making time for everything, and but just sticking to this schedule. It seems to make everyone happy, so it's good.
Yeah, there's seasons in life, and I feel like also like especially now, like where like I'm in my mid 30s, I think you're like in your early 40s based on what you've said about when you were in high school. Yep. But this is a season. We both have young kids, right?
Yep.
So like this is a season of life to be focused on that and not obviously not put the studio in the back seat, but to have it needs to be more regimented. Otherwise, like everything's going to fall apart, right? There's just so many. It's a juggle, right? So like you gotta have the right balance. Otherwise, you're going to topple over in any of those other departments, and you really don't want to when you're when you're raising a family and you need to support yourself with the business. So like everything matters, and so I think that's why a lot of people in our age bracket are so focused in on like getting that balance right these days. I think it's so important.
Yep.
And like you said, in your 20s, you can hustle hard and.
Yep.
And
work 16 hours every day. Yeah.
And there's a beauty in that, and and it's a beauty that also only lasts for so long, right?
Yep.
Like so, when you're that age, you got to take advantage of it.
Yep.
Or and when you're in your 30s and 40s, you got to like buckle down. And I mean, if that's the lifestyle you're doing, like whatever, everybody's gonna have different,
right?
There's so many different people doing so many different kinds of lives, and it's all legit. But for people in our situations, totally thinking about this stuff all the time to kind of. I'm always thinking about these things just to kind of keep all the things in check because they're all important, right? So
for sure.
Yeah, totally, man. I love that. So that's cool. I'm gonna think about accountability coach and just
I'm telling you, it's a great investment. I'm hooked now. Every weekend I look forward to it. It's like I've got to make sure that I don't disappoint Mo. So it's
Amazing.
It works well for me. Maybe not for everyone, but
awesome. Well, this has been a super fun chat, and we've talked about so many things, and this is awesome. So I guess we'll come to the close, and I'll ask you my final question, which I'm sure you know what to expect here. But just like looking back on your journey, in audio and music, was there something that you did or didn't do early on that you'd want to tell your earlier self and be like, Brent, keep at that. It's going to get you where you want to go, or maybe Brent, stop doing that. It's holding you back.
Yeah.
What would you tell your earlier self?
Probably to work on the projects that really matter and not to work on projects that you shouldn't be wasting your time on. I think Joe Ciccarelli, is that who it was? Yeah, I think said something on a podcast once about like you can work on certain projects and they're not really like going to get you where you want to be. I don't remember the exact quote. I wish I did. I should have it memorized. But to focus on those projects that are going to constantly be advancing your career. And I think, early on, like I said, I would just take on anything and everything. And, now I'm at a place where it's like I have the confidence, have the experience, and I feel like I can perform at a high level and work on, any record that kind of comes my way. But I'm 40 now. It's like, I wish that back then I was chasing like the coolest artists, the coolest records at the time, as opposed to just kind of getting, just focusing on any project that pays, I guess. That's what I would probably tell myself is don't worry as much about the money as the talent, I guess, to sum it all up.
Yeah. In the beginning, when you have the more time to do that, or it's not as, the stakes are not as high.
Yeah.
That's a great time to kind of focus on. Yeah. That's something that I think about also sometimes, of like, what if I'd stayed in New York a couple years and like played in bands, before moving to Israel?
Yep.
Or what if I had, I pursued like a wedding band for many years. What if I had been pursuing like recording like bands and stuff instead of pursuing like the gig life?
Yep.
Maybe it'd be further along, but you can't really, I guess you can't really regret it.
No, I mean, I still got tons of experience along the way.
You got like life. We go down our, we go down whatever path we're going to go down
for sure, and no regrets.
But I'm the one asking this question, obviously. But it's good to know, for listeners who are still, at that beginning stage, like, if you're in your 20s before you hit our age and you have kids and you got to like, balance it all out. Maybe that's the time to focus in and like, and do that, like if that's what you want.
Yeah,
right?
And I think for me, it's like I've always wanted to work on like the records that like entertain a wide audience. For some people, just getting paid, to do audio and any kind of audio is fine, and that's great too. For me, it's like I've always wanted to work on like records that, like I said, are getting millions and millions of streams. And at the time, like I said, I was just taking on anything and everything, just because I needed to pay the bills. And so focusing more on trying to focus more, I think, on the right projects instead of just any project that pays. This is what I would tell myself, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like for so many of us, I know me included, like the goal of doing this career path was to keep making music for life, mm-hmm. so that you could, and just the fact that you're doing that is like in of itself enough. Like it's amazing. I'm making music every day for like a living. And so maybe it could be easy to be complacent and just kind of like, just keep at it without, trying harder for bigger goals. And so maybe this is a good takeaway for the audience is to like maybe think bigger and have bigger goals than you maybe even put for yourself. And
that's it.
Because that's something that, like, I think my goals have always been a little bit too small. Of like, if I could just keep doing this for a living and support my family, that's great. And maybe you need to aim a little higher in order to. I think that sometimes you need to aim a little bit. I've mentioned this on the air also, but like, if you shoot for the stars and you get to the moon, that's like pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to shoot a little higher. And then you'll actually get to maybe a bit beyond what you imagined.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Well, this has been inspirational, man. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this and sharing those words with us.
I've had a blast, man. I love this stuff, talking about this stuff. I could do it all the time.
Amazing. Yeah, so we'll have to schmooze again sometime.
For sure.
I guess I'll put links in the show notes to your Instagram and I guess your website, and people can go find you there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great one, and see you around.
All right, thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Secret Sonics. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. If you've been digging the show, it would be awesome if you could share this episode or your favorite episode with a friend or two, and or leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcatcher of choice. That's it for now. Have a great week. Take care and dig in. See you soon. Bye-bye.